What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
And we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Shrimp is the most consumed seafood in the United States. And in Louisiana, it's big business.
For real.
Big business.
The wild-caught crustaceans bring in about $1.3 billion for the state every year. But for the last few years, shrimpers have been hit with a perfect storm of rising fuel costs and rock-bottom prices.
Bring it in.
That's one of the toughest jobs you could ever do. And if you're not getting your dues for it, why do it?
Producers say a flood of cheaper imported shrimp from India and Ecuador is sinking Louisiana's industry. But there's no way to feed America's skyrocketing demand without imports, which make up...
So the name of this video is that Louisiana's shrimp industry could be going extinct. I just can't believe that. We are like the heart and soul when it comes to seafood.
Right.
We love it too much to just say that it can potentially go extinct.
Right.
Actually, if you look on the bag when you're buying your shrimp, y'all, from Walmart or any other store, it tells you where your food is coming from, whether it's Argentina or some other location, or the Gulf. Right. We get our food from the Gulf.
We only gonna get it from the Gulf.
Or we know market is farm raised. You feel me? But yeah,
I don't know no Louisianan who's going to go to the store and pick up a package and is not gonna say the Gulf or from Louisiana. Like, we actually look for that label.
You have to. You have to.
So,
but again, if they've, I don't know. It has to be like a money issue that they got going on here. With the imports and the demands, and just allowing the relationship to thrive like that for them to say, hey, you know what, bring it what y'all got over here too, because we work with y'all allies.
Right. I mean, I understand, you know, the demand, but I as a person who's from this state, I have always just known us people in our area, make sure when you go to the store that it has Louisiana on it. Because that's just, Louisiana is just Louisiana.
Yeah, we
don't trust things from other places, right? Because we know that ours is fresh, it's better. It's
right there at the Gulf.
It's in our backyard.
Exactly. Yeah.
90% of the shrimp the U.S. consumes. Up against these headwinds, companies up and down Louisiana's supply chain are closing up shop.
Oh, no.
You worked hard, you did the right thing, you can become a millionaire in the 80s and the 90s. Now you can barely make a living.
So how did the industry get this bad? And is it too late to save it?
I hope not. I sure hope not.
New Orleans chef Justin Kennedy insists on buying only wild shrimp caught by fishermen in the Gulf of Mexico.
Like I just said.
Never try to foreign shrimp and ever serve it to our customer. I'll never even look at it as an option.
He runs Parkway Bakery and Tavern, a New Orleans fixture since 1911, famous for these massive po' boys.
Massive.
It's just one of those perfect little things that bring all walks of life together, and damn if it's a sandwich, you know?
He can go through 3,000 pounds of shrimp a week.
So what this is a sink that we just had chilled water piped to, and it's just a quick thawing out our seafood.
Right.
If you look at them, they're peeled. We take that vein out because it's a cleaner shrimp. It butterflies it a little bit more to kind of hold the batter and just make it a better bite. I'm gonna scoop a heaping pile of it up. So we're gonna dust this up.
He coats them in only corn flour.
We just use the natural juices and moisture from the shrimp to pick up that flour. You lightly shake that off. 350 degrees.
Yep.
That's pure vegetable oil. This one right here is getting that golden brown color, right? Looking like little baby fried chicken. Watch this. You break that open. Look at that. Look at that little coating. Look at that Louisiana white meat in there.
Louisiana.
You can't get no better than that.
That shrimp will eventually meet one of these giant loaves.
I think I'm almost 2 breads tall. Let's see. The French people kind of laugh at it because we call it French bread, but it's New Orleans French bread. This ain't French bread.
Justin hits the bread with some mayo, lettuce, and tomato.
And then we start dealing the shrimp.
2 handfuls?
Oh, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
It gets crazy.
Now I want to go home and get a po'.
Right.
You'll notice, when you see this thing laid out in front of you, you'll be like, how am I going to eat all that? And then all of a sudden it's gone. So we do one fold, tuck these in.
Thanks for the extra shrimp.
Right.
Wrap it. We're gonna put one more on there. There you go.
Pressure.
Parkway Bakery shrimp po' boy.
If you know, you know.
Where's that go now?
In my belly, baby.
Right.
About 1,000 people line up every day for these sandwiches, and Justin credits Local Shrimp for his award-winning recipe.
You know, I've had people try to sample me foreign. The batter won't stick on it. It's translucent when you cook it. You never see this pretty white meat. It still looks clear. It still looks like this when you cook it. But this Louisiana shrimp's true and true every time.
Something about that water.
How do y'all feel about eating seafood, in particular seafood? Meat, that's a little different, but seafood from a place where you don't live. Like, that's a long way for seafood.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like, I'm an open-minded individual. I feel like it can be contradictory because you're eating other culture foods. You may have other restaurants. You go get some Chinese, some Pandora. You might go get an Italian slice type of bread dish sandwich and whatnot. But then when you go to the culture, it's like we prefer our food.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's something that we just eat on a regular basis. We're not telling y'all to go back and trade it in and give us this shrimp because we don't really want that. We want the shrimp that we used to. Right. So I say it's contradictory because, okay, we eat other restaurants, but
I could see
the culture we rather our food,
I could see what you mean by that, and now it makes me think about like those a Chinese restaurant that's in Louisiana. What do they prefer?
Exactly. Now that's the question.
Because I just feel I understand they take all of these precautions to make sure that the food is okay, edible to eat when it gets here. But let's say if I go pick up some seafood 2 hours away and I'm driving with it in my car. By the time I get home...
And it's on ice, too. Yeah.
And it's on ice. By the time I get home, it's going to have a little stank to it.
Yeah. It don't take long for shrimp to smell.
Regardless of how much ice they put on it.
Yeah.
And my thing is, how... Could you imagine crawfish?
Right.
Because they do that.
And people in Louisiana will slap themselves on the wrist when they buy that store bag crawfish. They be like, y'all, I'm sorry, but it's just a season taking too long to come. I have to get the store-bought one.
It's just like crawfish. We're not going to eat the crawfish unless we see that it's alive going in the pot.
Yeah, I just think it's more of a fresh thing for us.
I wonder if other states or other countries are like how we are. Because, y'all...
I believe they are. If you ask me, I think they...
Possibly.
Heck yeah. Oh,
possibly.
Yeah.
I know we have some Michigan people up here because we always bring y'all up when we talk about crabs. How y'all feel? And that would be interesting because, Michigan is, right by Canada. So I wonder if they... I don't know. It's just interesting. I know Dion and I are not the only Louisianians who think like this.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Because I remember when we lived in Louisiana, we would go in the store and the seafood that they would get from other countries would be stocked. And our seafood was not stocked because that's all we were grabbing.
Or we just go to another store and find it.
Go to another store.
It's just like an individual who's his own hunter or fisherman. He will go out there and, cast a line and pick his own catfish or whatever fish he prefer. But when you go in the store, most likely they're not about to buy it out the store. When they can just go get it fresh out the water, cut it and, do their own thing to it. So I think that's just the nature of it. Man,
I would really strongly dislike, because hate is a strong word.
Uh-oh.
I would strongly dislike if they started tricking us. You know how they got that lab chicken? If they started bagging other people's shrimp and stuff and putting a Louisiana label just so we could eat it.
I feel like we kind of too far away from that.
I hope that don't happen. Don't do that to us, y'all.
I think we're too far away from that. I think we literally get our own, and we know Like, we know the difference. It's the taste as well.
Listen,
Like you said, the better don't even stick.
I know. I will go and open up a shrimp farm. Not shrimp farm. Go get me a shrimp boat and go out there on the Gulf myself before I get another country's seafood.
Lord.
Justin gets most of his shrimp from this factory, right
serious.
up the road. Kristen Baumer is one of the few processors left in the area
So this is the process.
who only works with Gulf shrimp.
Okay.
Just like his family has for
Gulf.
over 130 years.
130.
We've definitely seen a lot of processors go out of business. It's become more of a volume game because the margins are so
I've
tight.
seen him before.
His company processes 30 million pounds of shrimp annually.
So what we're doing is easy peeling shrimp. We're hand feeding it into a machine that splits the back of the shell.
Oh, we
cuts
wonder
the
how they
shell
did
open,
that.
and then it allows, when you cook it, more flavor to get into the shrimp as well as making it easier to peel.
Kristen's team flash freezes all the crustaceans in this room. That's how they're able to transport the shrimp all over the country.
So they're picking shrimp for the second time to make sure they get all the defects out of it before it goes up.
This shaker separates the pieces so they won't stick together when they're frozen.
Right.
Then they take a trip down this tunnel at minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
And after the shrimp hits the liquid nitrogen, it forms a crust on the shrimp, and then it moves slowly through the belt to freeze from the outside in. Don't stick your finger in unless you have a warrant that you want to burn up.
This machine portions the seafood into 5-pound bags of about
See that
15
Gulf
pieces.
shrimp? Nice and bold.
Each bag gets a traceability
Because
barcode.
that's what we looking
We
for.
get all the way back to the shrimp dock that it came from.
This processed product comes out to anywhere from $7 to $10 a pound, depending on the season.
That's not
With
bad.
inflation, everything is getting more and more expensive.
Listen.
I like that bag, so I gotta go find that bag now.
For real,
Some nice
listen.
size shrimp right there.
Y'all hear me talk about inflation a lot on this channel, about these eggs. Okay, but when it comes to seafood, I reconsider what I need to put back so I can get my seafood. And I'm not saying, like, if we were to travel to another country and we was eating their seafood, of course we're gonna eat the seafood that's there.
Right.
Because it's there. That's what I'm trying to stress, that you eat the seafood in your region. Because I don't know. I really want to know how y'all feel about that.
Yeah, I think it would be an uproar if our seafood was to go extinct or it was to be overpopulated by another culture's, branded seafood. Like people would have a problem with that.
Oh, definitely.
Off the back.
Definitely. I'm telling you, we all gonna go buy us a shrimp boat.
Man.
Let's put in.
Running these processing plants and all this moving equipment and avoiding breakdowns takes a lot of capital.
Back and
People have
tight.
been fishing and processing this shrimp in Louisiana for centuries. From Cajun fishermen to the indigenous people of the United Homa Nation. In the 1800s, shrimp was a staple food of the poor, and sellers couldn't transport it far because shrimp spoiled so easily in the Louisiana heat.
That part.
That was until the mid-1800s, when several advancements brought shrimp beyond the local scene. Chinese immigrants introduced traditional drying techniques that could preserve the shrimp, and the first canning factory in New Orleans opened up in 1875. But fresh shrimp transported on ice was expensive, so it took on a reputation as a luxury item, tossed into shrimp salads and perched in cocktails. By the 1950s, techniques to freeze shrimp and new refrigerated trucks sealed the deal. They
That's a
allowed for
blessing.
seafood delivery as far away as the East Coast and Chicago. This was about the time that the shrimp imports into the U.S. from Mexico and then India began to take off. By 1970, demand across the U.S. had nearly tripled, and domestic shrimpers caught more to keep up, with Louisiana leading the pack. By the 90s, the state's shrimp and shellfish generated nearly $2 billion and supported 22,000 jobs.
That's good stuff.
And come the turn of the century, shrimp became the most consumed seafood in America. At the same time, new tech helped farms in Asia and South America raise a lot more shrimp. In less than a decade, farming production skyrocketed nearly 200%, overtaking global catches of wild shrimp. In 2023, the U.S. imported 1.7 billion pounds, nearly as much as its population consumes. And these imports are often cheaper than wild-caught U.S. shrimp. That's because labor costs are lower in big shrimp farming countries like India and Ecuador, and their governments have subsidized these operations. In the U.S., domestic shrimp prices have dropped to compete with the low import prices. Meanwhile, shrimpers like Captain Lonnie Mayu Jr. are facing skyrocketing costs of operating a boat.
You're wasting fuel and ice if you don't catch anything.
Since the 1980s, he says a block of ice has gone from $14 to $26 today.
Ooh,
a set of new nets more than doubled,
ice.
and a gallon of gas more than tripled in price.
Mm-hmm.
At 82 years old, Lonnie, who goes by Knuckles, hasn't given up trawling these waters, even after 6 decades. Starting in May, he heads out to catch brown shrimp, usually around sunset.
You have to go do your homework and know where they're going to be at.
He works independently, like most of the shrimpers here.
Right about there.
It's no shrimp for everybody.
A little too far.
During the day, brown shrimp may bury themselves in the sediment to hide from predators. But after dark, they often come out and roam in shallow water. Knuckles and his deckhand Steve drop these nets that skim the top of the water.
We're not dragging anything on the bottom.
He positions himself against the current, so the shrimp fall right into his nets.
The shrimp are not like fish. They can't really swim that great. They take a ride on the current.
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles and Steve will pick out and keep just the shrimp. Sea turtles have an escape hatch in the net, and other animals get thrown back into the sea, where some dolphins are waiting to chow down on them.
If we don't pick up in that favor often enough, they'll take and bite it out of the net.
Oh, Lord.
They can literally rip a 4-foot hole in it.
They want
which
that
is gonna
fish.
take a lot of time to fix.
Like this one. Knuckles pulls up the net so he can sew it closed.
With the water, bro.
You're gonna be working deliberately.
Right. That's tough.
This work can be grueling. Some shrimpers have big enough vessels they can stay out for weeks at a time. Knuckles has a smaller boat, so he fishes just until morning.
But it keeps you in shape.
But even
Keep you
after all
moving.
this work, there's a chance they could have a bad run. Tonight, most of the nets were full of catfish.
Keep that.
Come on, man.
Keep that.
You know somebody that want it.
Full of shrimp. Full of shrimp. They went in the net, ate all the shrimp. Then you got a pound of shrimp. It's all catfish. I'll try pushing up, going a little further up in the lake or something.
Might as
Knuckles
well
spent
blow it up or something.
$45,000 buying and fixing up his boat. It was meant to be his ticket to retirement. But now he's unsure that plan will work.
You know, for me to get out the business, I got to sell it.
Right.
I got no retirement, but I can't sell a boat. Can't give it away. Nobody wants it.
And most shrimpers agree it's getting harder to justify going out.
For this boat to leave the dock, it's gonna cost me over $1,000. It's killing us. The farmers is killing us.
Right now, nobody want to do it no more because they're struggling.
Milena Cheeve has been fishing for 8 years. Like 60% of the state's shrimp boat owners, she and her husband are originally from Southeast Asia.
Now, one thing I can say about the farmers, them boy got a mean upper hand when it comes to these people on boats.
Mm-hmm.
You literally breeding them on the farm,
Yeah.
and you don't have to go on that water to,
Right.
re-up on your shrimp. But they have to go on that water and come back and sell it. That process alone is, it's a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm. A lot of us have our own people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the people, like, they're selling the shrimp and the fish and the crabs and all of this to the people and not to the stores anymore.
Exactly.
Because of this.
Yep. And people are getting their hands full.
Listen,
Ooh,
we having a blast.
supply for a year.
We having a
Crazy,
blast.
bro. It's crazy.
With our education, there's nothing else we could do besides fishermen, especially like me and my husband, like in our mid-50s.
So I got one more question to ask. Like, is the young adults and the upcoming the babies that's around this type of time, like family members that actually go out there and do the boats and buy and get the shrimps, like are they being motivated to go out there and do it and pick up on the legacy, or just to get their own boats and get in business themselves?
Right.
Because where's the awareness when it comes to the culture of people getting on boats to go get their shrimp?
We need videos like this to show us that there is a problem. Because all
So
I'm
that-
seeing is a man who said that this is supposed to be his retirement, a lady in her 50s saying that's all they have. We need more of our younger people out there.
Right.
Because
Right.
in Louisiana, they're worried about the oil field jobs, you know, the construction jobs, the warehouse jobs.
Yeah.
We need to save our industry, people. Okay?
Yeah, and then you're dealing with the farmers, and then you're dealing with the imports of shrimp from other locations.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they got the backs against the work for real.
For real. I think, especially, we know the climate of Louisiana. We know that the other things that go on.
Mm-hmm.
If we could get our young people more involved in this, oh, man.
Yeah.
Our crime level will go down.
Oh, that's another
I'm
one.
so serious.
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 Yeah, this is a good one to get involved in.
Because they gotta go out there at night and in the evenings.
Yeah.
They ain't
it's
gonna
good money too, though.
For real,
Is.
They're not gonna be out doing nothing, getting in trouble.
And that's ideas that we also have that we can dive into, but we ain't gonna put too much of that in there.
Glenda and her husband weren't able to go to college, but they hoped shrimping would help their kids do the opposite.
Not enough to pay, especially when you have 2 kids in college. You're struggling.
Dock owners are feeling the impact too.
Because if we don't bring no shrimp, they don't make no money either. You know, when the shrimp boats go out, they're going to kill the docks too.
That's a pretty shrimp.
Dean Blanchard's family has been buying and selling local shrimp for 5 generations.
I was born in a shrimp dock. When I was a baby, they used to put me in a shrimp box.
His dock, 2 hours south of New Orleans, was once one of the biggest shrimp suppliers in the country. But last year, he paid the lowest prices he ever has for the larger shrimp.
30-some years ago, they went down from $5 to $1.30.
That's because he's selling it for so little to the peeling factories.
Right now, it's the cheapest I ever seen in my life. I'm sick to my stomach. I ain't never seen nothing like this. Never.
It's crazy because we did not know this was happening.
Now we just grab the bags and go.
For real, we did not know it was a problem.
Yeah.
Y'all know my mind is churning.
Never in my life seen it this bad.
After 6 decades in the industry, Dean's no stranger to financial challenges. From the 2010 BP oil spill to big storms. His dock had $2 million in damages after Hurricane Ida hit in 2021.
Where you standing right there wasn't even there after the storm. I mean, I've rebuilt this building at least 8, 9 times.
He never fixed up this part of his marina.
Oh, it brings tears to your eyes. I mean, everything you work for all your life is gone.
But imports, he says, have done even more damage.
We're directly correlated with imports. If a completely processed product is coming in for just over $4 a pound, that means our dockside prices have to be lower, the processors' prices are lower. So to be able to try to get that market share and keep it. So you're making the same amount of money that you would in 2000, but 22 years later.
Fewer boats can afford to go out, so less shrimp is landing on Dean's dock.
We're down to right under 20% of what we normally are for this time of the year.
On this day we visited in May 2023, not a single shrimp boat pulled up to unload.
It ain't gonna last too much longer like this. Thank God I'm almost 65 years old and I ain't got no kids in this business.
Dean estimates that 96% of the docks operating when he started out have since closed down.
I feel bad for the people because I know once I'm gone, they're gonna have to drive 50, 60, 70 miles to go sell their product.
Just like Knuckles, when Dean retires, he doesn't think anyone will buy the company.
Nobody can afford to take it over. The property is worth more than the business.
The property.
And then that's another thing. The hurricanes. That was in Grand Isle. Hurricanes. They gotta constantly think about rebuilding and
it's a lot of money they're putting back into the business so it can work properly. And I'm not even talking about for the like the equipment. It's just building it up. That alone is going to take an arm and a leg. So when that money could be going into the boat or other boats.
Right. This is one of those businesses where when it's going good, it's good. When it's going bad,
it's bad. Yeah. But they should have Gulf shrimp on farms as well. Which I believe so.
We have catfish.
Yeah, we got farm-raised catfish. So I 1,000% believe they have farm-raised shrimp.
Right, but a lot of people are skeptical
about farm-raised, as they should, because they have more power to do as they please. You know, some people can do all type of things to make their shrimp bigger than yours. And then the competition looks at, not the competition, the buyers looking at the size of the shrimp and not the location of the shrimp.
Right.
And that's what tricks the eye because they're going off what they see and not what they know, which is it golf or is it something else?
All right, but I mean, the stuff we get in this farm, the things that are important, so
yeah, that part.
Do something.
Yep.
Louisiana still hauls in the most shrimp of any U.S. state, over 70 million pounds in 2023. But that's a small fraction, the roughly 2 billion pounds the U.S. consumes.
The American landings of shrimp cannot cover the overall consumption of shrimp.
Nearly 90% of the shrimp Americans eat is imported, and much of it is sourced using controversial practices. In 2021, an International Trade Commission analysis indicated that shrimp might be the U.S. seafood market most affected by illegal fishing. Like this boat off the coast of Gambia. It had an illegal undersized net, and although the shrimp was labeled sustainable, 99.9% of the seafood on board were other species, like sharks and octopuses.
And a lot of time, that bycatch dies on the deck and just gets thrown back into the ocean.
Oh.
But the majority of the shrimp the U.S. imports is farm-raised.
A lot of our shrimp comes from India, where there are huge environmental concerns, as well as ongoing allegations of human rights abuses and forced labor.
A 2024 Associated Press report found women in the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh were peeling frozen shrimp without protective gear, which can lead to frostbite.
It's kept incredibly cold to keep bacteria from proliferating. I don't know about you, but I don't want to hold ice cubes in my hand all day while I'm also trying to do very nimble work with my fingers. One of the huge issues is that these shrimp farms are isolated. They're far out on the coast. You know, there's not OSHA. There's no one protecting and making sure that the conditions are safe.
But they have few other options for work.
A lot of times when these aquaculture facilities are built, other economic resources in these areas disappear.
Arugula Baby is still trying to pay off an $8,500 loan she took out when her son was dying of liver disease.
Aww.
Since he passed, she's been raising her grandchildren alone. To get to the peeling shed, she has to pay for transportation and 25 cents to a recruiter. She earns below $4 every day.
Oh, child, okay, that's a lot. But what I do want to say is, if we wouldn't allow certain things to happen in our factories or our restaurants, and you know, if we have protocol,
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Why are we importing goods that don't follow that same protocol?
That's a big question. That is a very great question.
I don't listen.
That's a great question.
I know a lot about when it comes to economics, but when it comes to, you know, the other side of it.
So are they saying we're responsible to clean it?
That's why you gotta clean your fish.
Your you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, do they want us to clean it? We have to devein everything. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
That's a great question, by the way, though. See, that's a really great question.
Not even what I was talking about earlier about it's just traveling too far for me.
Right. The odor of it can get. Oh, that's a sticky one too. It's gonna be hard to clean out.
That's a lot.
$2 under the country's minimum wage.
No other option.
A lot of times we will see a woman being threatened for her own safety or her family's safety unless she works, unless she meets certain quotas.
We've heard that before.
Beyond the human cost, there's also an environmental one. In India, most of the farms are along coastlines, where water is plentiful and mangrove forests thrive.
Those mangroves go through deforestation. They're pulled out, they're blown up with dynamite. So we lose that nursery habitat for other sea creatures, and we lose our coastline protection.
When that happens, shrimp can have 10 times the carbon footprint of beef.
Next, these really big ponds are dug into the land. So the shrimp live in these ponds.
Chemicals and excrement from shrimp pens can leach out into surrounding environments. They can cause algae blooms and dead zones, disrupt ecosystems, and contaminate water. Shrimp farms around the world have been criticized for using antibiotics to treat illness in their ponds.
If you've ever ridden the subway home at rush hour, you know how it is. You're in tight, you're squeezed in tight. There's great opportunities for sickness to spread. And it's that exact same situation in these ponds.
Bro, that's crazy. Woo! I mean, listen, if this their option, and of course, there's always something more to it that you can do to help these people get better jobs and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just give Zach off shrimp. It just get way too much going on in here. She's saying a whole lot, bro. Just give Zach off shrimp. We be straight. We be straight.
So what you proposed earlier about having the forms here?
Again, it's still questionable because you have people that here. I think they still have to do with OSHA.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're still checking in and testing everything as much as possible. But this stuff is being this stuff is not being tested.
Child,
again, I don't know if they're testing it when they get here, but it's not being tested. You know what I'm saying? And if she has all this information, then again, like you asked, why they haven't done anything?
Right.
Why they still taking it in that way?
We still eating. Well, not us, child. We eat from the Gulf.
Yeah.
So next time you go to the store, you're gonna look for what? Golf.
Okay.
That's why antibiotic use is so incredibly high.
That overexposure can lead to antimicrobial resistant superbugs, a health concern that's estimated to have caused nearly 1.3 million deaths around the world in 2019. And some antibiotics, like nitrofurans, have been linked to liver damage and cancer. In the US and European Union, almost all of these kinds of drugs are banned.
So you could end up eating something that's illegal here.
In 2023, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration turned away 51 shipments of shrimp because of banned antibiotics. But the organization checks just about 2% of imports.
Oh, so we still got
So what happened with that other 96 to
Hold up now.
Only 2% was inspected.
Why everybody else didn't go to work?
They didn't want to do their job.
What?
They said, we're going to have to get somebody else to do it.
Child, listen, I was about to give a hand clap because, we still have all these, preservatives and things in our snacks and things that the European Union don't agree with.
Facts.
And so now, if the United States says it's bad, it's bad. You can't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all need to go to work.
Because that was a whole lot of shipments. That was a lot of shipments.
8% of seafood that's coming in.
The major health concern here is the lack of testing of imported shrimp, the amount of banned substances that may be carried in these shrimp.
A 2017 LSU study found that 30 out of 42 samples tested from stores around Baton Rouge had antibiotics or antimicrobials.
So the food comes in and they are testing it. Sometime. They are testing it. A little bit.
Child, listen.
2% of it is getting tested, while the rest is like, to heck with it. Just put it on the shelf. I'm just saying. And then I bet the people that know about this stuff ain't buying no Argentina shrimp. Or whatever from the farms that has these type of chemicals in it. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you one thing. Our elders never steered us wrong.
I feel you on that.
They said you better get that golf shells and all that.
Yeah. And clean your food.
Please.
Everything. Please, need to hit that water, need to hit some vinegar, need to hit some whatever you got up in that cabinet. Let it touch it.
Not the seafood. Not the seafood with the vinegar.
I'm just speaking as a whole. It's a blanket statement.
Right.
Just clean your food.
Please.
Just clean your food, y'all.
Don't depend on everybody else to clean your food. You clean your food. All right. Anyway.
I got some more I want to say, but okay.
And that's largely due to the fact that the FDA is responsible for more than 50 million imports annually. And there's just not enough work power to inspect everything
all that
coming
just
in.
sitting that's frozen.
In the last year, the U.S. Department of Commerce has imposed duties on shrimp from India, Vietnam, and Ecuador. But these efforts, Louisianan shrimpers tell us, haven't been enough to help their incomes. Imported shrimp is still flooding the market. That's why locals like Kristen have been advocating for more regulation. He's a part of the Louisiana Shrimp Task Force, which works with the state government on long-term solutions.
We need country of origin labeling on restaurant menus, so at least when people buy, they're buying and making a choice.
In 2019, the Louisiana legislature passed a law requiring restaurants to disclose if their shrimp is imported. But some restaurants still passed off imported as domestic. The state's health department has handed down 2,600 violations since the law went into effect, but no restaurants were ever fined. In May 2024, the governor signed a bill for heavier fines on restaurants that mislabel seafood. If they're busted, they could be fined up to $2,000. While Justin says he'll never touch imported shrimp, he can understand why restaurants turn to it when the local stuff gets expensive.
They're looking for a good product that will get the register to ring.
Right.
And so you can't blame them either.
With dock prices so low, he paid $4 a pound in 2023, almost half of what he was paying 2 years ago.
I understand that. When I get a cheap price, I know that the shrimpers out there in the boats are probably getting hammered. But if it went back to $7 a pound, I'd still buy it. I just have to go up on my price.
A price he says he's lucky his customers would probably pay.
We sure will.
You're talking to one of the busiest po' boy shops in the city. What about the corner stores who are just living from day to day? There has to be some kind of medium. I just hope it'll work itself out. This has been little, small holes pecking away for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, you know? And it's coming where, it's starting to take water. We're going down, you know, in the seafood industry.
The fact is, the U.S. eats so much shrimp that the stuff caught in the Gulf could never cover it all. Nations will probably always fill that gap.
Got to import, because we can't supply the whole United States. But put a quota on it.
It has to come down from Washington. There has to be some work done up there with, like, regulating the import.
Dean wants federal assistance for shrimpers.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a farmer left in business if they had to live like we live. They're being subsidized for this. Shrimpers should be considered farmers of the sea, but we're not.
More inspections of seafood at U.S. ports and better traceability of shrimp from boat to plate would also help. But some experts say it comes down to better consumer awareness of the health benefits of wild-caught shrimp over farmed, like how the salmon industry got people to pay more for wild-caught thanks to messaging that it was more nutrient-dense.
If people would know exactly what they're buying and they know exactly what they're feeding their kids, they wouldn't mind paying a couple of cents more for a product that don't have antibiotics.
In the grocery store aisle, don't be fooled by tricky labeling, like product of USA or prepared in the USA. That could be referring to where the shrimp was last processed, not necessarily where it was caught. Flip to the back of the package and look for the phrase farm-raised or wild-caught in, followed by a country name. That should tell you where it's from.
Purchase U.S. farmed or U.S. wild-caught shrimp. In the U.S., farm shrimp are held to very strict regulations in regards to what antibiotics they can use.
The eyes look like they full of that stuff, bro.
And when you're at a restaurant,
glowing.
I always ask, where is that shrimp from? And if that restaurant can't answer that, then I don't order it. Or maybe we should just eat a little less shrimp and take it back to being a special
that's
occasion
why
item.
girl.
It wasn't an option.
backed by consumer awareness,
What's the
maybe
option?
then shrimpers can save their sinking ship.
We have to have it, and we will always have it. Parkway Bakery will always have Louisiana shrimp. I'll get on a boat my damn self, you know?
The heartbeat, bro. That's what you just said. We're going to have to get our own boats, bro. We're going to stop it right there, man. A lot of great points. Gosh, I just don't know where to start. For one, people can choose whatever shrimp they want to eat. Trust me, that's not a problem. But it's just like the bread aisle. When you have options and it has labeling on it, you get to actually understand which one is more, you know, beneficial to you, what you like. But you can't be tricking people just because you need it to sell.
Right.
I think that's that's false advertising at its best right there.
Because if that person gets sick, baby, you know what? On August 7th, 2013 at 7, keep the receipt.
People think they be getting sick because that food not cooked. That food poisoning is real. Something is in the food.
I love Louisiana people. I love us. I really do. Just hearing all of our different accents. I just love us. I just hate that this is a video about us. I don't like it.
Yeah, I ain't see that coming like this.
And not just us from our home state, but the United States. Like we watch a lot of different topics on the channel about all around the world, and you know we be saying, "Oh man, you know,
you can only say so
I
much.
hate to give my advice, but
you can only say so much." But this hit home.
This home.
Yeah, he made a great point. They can't supply the whole states, all the states, with just the boats that's coming in. The you know, I understand that. But there's an option where you can get people more on board with this style of work.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? People can actually start working these fields and going out there and helping out with the picking of the shrimps and actually farm raising them the correct way, because you have people that's checking and seeing if they're doing it right.
Right.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Right. Man, I would rather eat farm raised from the USA than somewhere else where it's not regulated, like for real. Because
What she said was very, very scary. Over 1.9 million people lost their lives because of the food.
Listen, I just want to give it up to our elders who has drilled it in our ears when we was running errands as teenagers to the store to get the Gulf shrimp.
Read them labels, y'all. Gotta read them labels. That's all it is.
Yes. All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.